States in the northeastern part of the country will not meet their climate goals. Despite politicians and a ton of regulations for the region, they have enacted policies that aim to reduce carbon emissions. Not going to meet the targets. John Campion is here. He's the chairman of APR Energy. Big shot in the energy world, ain't that right, lad?
Jesus. Listen,
right there. Come on. To the issue at hand.
To the issue at look, it's actually worse than that. The goal in 1990, over 60 years to 2050, was to do an 80% reduction of carbon emissions.
Yep.
They've barely got to 16%, and we're halfway through it. The energy price, the electricity you pay in New England is some of the highest in North America. For instance, it's about 21 to 22 cents for a kilowatt hour. Florida, it's 11 cents.
Oh, and is that because of green climate change regulations, or in part?
One needs a balanced energy portfolio. You can't be all of one thing, you can't be all of the other. You can't be all nuclear, you can't be all coal, you can't be all... so you have to have a balanced energy portfolio. Look, some of the cheapest energy and efficient and green is natural gas. Now, there's 3 pipelines to get to New England have been choked off because Governor Cuomo in New York said, not going to happen.
That's right. Now, that's the governor of New York State says you can't have these pipelines.
Correct. So that pipelines will be feeding cheaper natural gas, U.S. cheap natural gas, up to New England. New England's problem is it's a collective of states, but it's the one ISO. It's the one independent systems operator. So it's the one grid. So you got various factions trying to do various things and act collectively. As a result of that, they haven't made their goals, like we said, right. And it's the most expensive electricity in the country. It's 56% more expensive than the rest of the country.
Now, if you can't build these pipelines, and you said you can't, they've been choked off, then you can't get our American natural gas to the ports to export it to the Europeans, and they want to buy it.
Correct. Look, you and I have talked about this several times in the past. American gas to Europe is going to solve a huge political problem, and potentially a worse problem than that, because the gas is coming from your friend and my friend in Russia. And that's a problem. And that's used as a political tool. And when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
You're really going right up against Governor Cuomo, aren't you?
Well, look, I think that's a problem. Cheap gas in America is fueling this economy. You talked earlier about what the president's doing, and we're talking about the GDP. We have an energy policy that's beginning to get better. We've got cheap gas in this country. Who would have ever thought we'd have had some of the largest gas reserves in the world? So that's all becoming because of what this president's policies are doing. He's knocking down barriers. We've got cheap gas, cheap energy, cheap electricity is fueling this economy, as well as tax cuts. So again, all things being balanced.
Got it. John Campion, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
See you again soon.